Hi there, and welcome to today's episode of How the Game Was Won. Today we are looking at the only decisive game of round 2 of the FIDE Grand Prix played in Tashkent. The game was played on the 22nd of October 2014 between Maxime Vachier-Lagrave with the white pieces and Rustam Kasimdzhanov with the black pieces. The game will be following the main lines of the Berlin defense of the Re-Lopez, more commonly known as the Berlin Wall defense, for the first couple of moves. So what I'll do without further delay is run through those moves really quickly until we get to the first of a couple of interesting positions that arise straight out of the opening. Obviously E4, E5, Knight F3, 6, Bishop B5, Knight F6, which is the classic move of the Berlin Wall defense, as opposed to the much more common A6. The more common A6, Bishop A4, Bishop B5, which is seen in the vast majority of especially beginner level games. But with the Berlin Wall defense, we continue with D3, Bishop C5, Knight BD2, D6, castles, Bishop D7, C3, and the C3 obviously is in support of the D4 square, and black castles, Knight C4, and here black plays H6. But in the playing of H6, he completely underestimates the seemingly quietness of white's opening moves. Obviously H6 is to give some sort of protection to the G5 square to be able to protect against the possibility of the bishop lift into G5 and the pin. The pin against the queen. But at the same time, a player of Kasimdzhanov's strength should have been looking at the quiet positional nature of white's development and piece mobility, rather than looking at defending against relatively cheap tactics. The game continued with B4, Bishop B6, and A4. Obviously, the immediate direct threat here is A5, trapping the dark square bishop. So it's important here that black is going to be needing to do something to supply some sort of flight squares for the bishop, which he does by means of A5, which immediately weakens his pawn structure on the queen side, which you'll see developing by way of Knight B6, C takes, B takes A, and Knight takes A5, and h3. Let's just take a quick look at what we've got here. Here, white is sitting with a pair of bishops. He's got a cohesive, centralized pawn chain of c3, d3 and e4. What black has by comparison is he no longer has the pair of bishops, and these pawns are both, three pawns are both weak, and especially in the case of the b6, b7 pawns, we're talking about a structural weakness that's of a permanent nature, and as the game clears through the middle game and towards the end game, these two weak pawns as well as the d pawn are just simply too many weak pawns to be defending against all at the same time. And what's more, with the situation as the game's been developing, it's given black yet another weakness as well, which is the knight. If black, for instance, exchanges bishops, what will happen is that his knight on a5 will get stranded on the a5 square for effectively the rest of the game, taking that knight completely out of play and allowing white to play with a virtual piece up as well. Let's see how things continue. Black playing d5, e takes, bishop b5. As I mentioned earlier, the exchange effectively trapping the knight. Queen d5. So black's managed to take care of the weak d6 pawn, but we still those b6, b7 pawns, their structural permanent weakness is looking weaker and weaker with each single passing move. White continues with c4, strengthening the pawn chain. Obviously queen e6, bishop b2. So now with the white square bishop traded off, there's lots of spaces for the black square bishop to be able to punch through and effectively, number one, putting pressure on the e pawn, as well as making a deserted control attempt across the a1 h8 diagonal. I continued with e4, rook e1. Obviously not yet. So from this point of view, obviously black won't be able to take because of pin against the queen. Look at a rook ad8, bishop takes f6, queen takes, pick up the pawn, and now in an attempt to be able to give the stranded knight some mobility, black plays knight b3. which is immediately weakening to his position. Black obviously had the opportunities of being able to play rook takes d3 with a queen takes a1 check, king h2, which is still better for white, but at least in this situation black has some degree of counterplay and gives some sort of chances as far as survival is concerned. So getting back, black played knight b3, which allowed white to play rook a3, knight c5, rook e3, and really in this position Kasimdzhanov's position is clearly worse positionally, and he's a pawn down, and in addition to the pawn down, as far as his position is concerned, he's already a pawn down, and as I mentioned before, these two pawns sitting here are ripe for the taking, and once these two pawns are cleared, it will be effectively giving white a chain of passed pawns that can be able to wreak absolute havoc. So let's see how the next sequence played itself out. We've got black playing knight e6, queen a1 doubling down the open file, queen e7 trying to lodge some sort of defense against the weakened pawn, but there are just too many weaknesses to be able to defend with the pieces that black has at his disposal. So we've got d4, queen f6, rook e4, rook d6, pushing there, d5, black exchanges queens, knight c5, rook e3, rook c8, knight bd2, rook d7, king f1, and all the way along it's just basically applying more and more pressure down the queen side with the three connected passed pawns, and black having to struggle more and more to deal with the doubled weak pawns, and of the doubled weak pawns, the major first line of weakness is the b7 pawn. We continue king f8, trying to bring the king into play, but with the white rook controlling the e file, it's obviously going to be really difficult for the king to get out and into play. Knight e4, rook cd7, should I say dc7, knight e6, rook d8, rook a, e1, g6, rook e8 check, rook takes, king g7, king e2, and here effectively Kasimdzhanov resigned because he's out of moves to be able to defend the position. We've still got the rook on the e file that is preventing the king from black's king from getting across. White on the other hand will be able to bring his king in, his king out and through, and basically get into the queen's side, mop up the two pawns, march his two pawns through, for which black will need to be giving up at the very least a piece to be able to maintain some sort of equilibrium. So even though the game resigned here, let's have a look at a likely continuance, where you've got black's best possibility here would probably be something along the lines of f5, rook e3, rook d7, knight c8, f4, threatening the rook. Okay, rook f3. Let's see, what is there available at black's disposal now? He could play rook d8, knight takes, dropping the first of the b pawns, rook d6, knight a8, g5, trying to mount some sort of a kingside pawn pressure, but really with already 2 pawns down, a clear passed pawn on the d file. It's really just requires textbook play to be able to convert. Here we've got the trying to bring the rook in behind the f pawn, but really none of these pawns are passed, none of them are likely to be able to be getting passed, so it's effectively all over. Let's have a look, see what do we have at our disposal. We can bring the rook across to a3, king g6, g takes f, rook takes f, knight d6, h5, bring the rook back across, rook f6, knight c8, rook f4, knight now coming to knight to d6, applying additional pressure onto that b7 pawn. So the best defense against that would be b6. Rook f3, rook h4, start bringing the king across, g4, h takes, rook e3, rook h2, bring the king in to defend, rook h3, rook e8, knight a4 to defend the pawn, take check, another pawn drops, then king e5, knight f7 check, check there, king e7, knight g5, rook f3, rook f7 check, King D8. Launch the other pass pawn. Make a play, come in with knight C5, F5, knight D7, D6, King C8, Rook F7, Rook G3, knight E4, check, King E3, move it back, play check, King to D7, the king's running up into the corner, F6, Rook F1, Rook E8, check, King E4, E1, King F5, and lift the king, which effectively forces black to either the only move is knight c5, anything else is mating 6, mating 7 combination. So we'll play knight c5 check, knight takes, and now we're down to mating 7. D7, Rook E3, King F7, Rook D3, queen it, which obviously forces the loss of the rook. King D6, Rook A8, King D7, Rook A6, King C8, also King E6, and really King D8 is effectively all that's available. And march the pawn through, and queen that one, and all you have going left figure is King C7, Rook A7 check, and there's only one square available for black, and that's the B6 square, allowing that so that is how the game was won. Please post your comments and questions down below. Click the like button, share this video out amongst your chess friends, and also while you're clicking buttons, please click the subscribe button to my channel. That way you can be staying up to date on new games as I post them on a week-to-week basis. Stay safe out there. See you next time. Cheers.